Guys, welcome back to our weekly vlog where we talk about anything to go with fishing. This is kind of fun. We call it a vlog, fishing log, blah, blah, blah. So how you guys doing? Just got back, well, not today, but just got back from a great weekend at Lake Fork. Surprisingly, Saturday, I didn't catch nothing but tiny fish until Saturday evening and then really got on the big fish. Great weekend. Great weekend. Always love that lake. But a couple things we're going to talk about today. First of all, I got to say this. I hate to pick on the boy, but Jacob Foutz come out with another video where he talked about, he throwed a little bit of his economics out there and talked, he's been on the tour for like 3 years now. And this year he lost like $17,000. Or something like that. He spent like $77,000, he said, to be on tour with new truck, boat, entry fees, tackle, all the things, diesel, lodging, all that stuff. And he only made like $58,000 or $60,000, somewhere in that area, So, and I say this because he's supposed to be so transparent. So I'm being transparent. I'm being transparent with you guys. Is he really being transparent? If you've been on tour for 3 years and you lose almost $60,000, are you really being transparent? Where's that $60,000 coming from? If you're $60,000 in the hole, which means you brought in $60,000 less over a 3-year period than you made, you're getting that money from somewhere, but you're not saying it. He would not disclose how much he made off guiding. He would not. So I know he didn't make, let's say he made $20,000 guiding. You just broke even. You still haven't made enough to live, I guess. Oh, maybe you made enough to live if you're breaking even every year. I guess that's about right. Maybe he's breaking even by guiding. Maybe that's what he's doing. But maybe if you took away the $58,000 worth of expenses, just imagine if you guided full time. So maybe he wants to think about guiding full time, or maybe he's got mom and daddy, because he did say he's still on mom and daddy's insurance. Mom and daddy's propping him up. He's not being as transparent as he may seem. He's sugarcoating and making it seem like this, that, and another. He's not being as transparent as it may seem. He's just not telling you the truth. But we're gonna leave that alone. We'll move on. One of the things that I made a comment. On one of my. I posted a picture, big bass, and I said the goat lives on. Now I had one guy come on there and you're obviously not the goat, and I was like, I'm talking about the lake. Definitely not the greatest fisherman of all time. I was talking about the lake. I had to specify that, and it's cool. No big deal there, because I definitely am not the goat fisherman. But we got into the conversation, another guy got into the conversation of goat lakes, greatest of all time. And I believe Fork is the greatest of all time. And a lot of people are hammering, oh no, Ivy's the greatest of all. So this is the question in the conversation for today. Is a 3 or 4 year run enough to make something the greatest of all time, or is it a body of work? I see where right now, Ivy is by far the best lake in Texas and maybe the country in terms of giant fish. They had lots of low water, grass grew on the shoreline, and it kind of went through almost like a new lake birth. Because the water was so low for so long, stuff grew, got fertile, the grasses grew up, and so it's kind of like a new lake. It'll run through a 5 or 10 year deal where it's just amazing for 5 or 10 years, and then it begins to settle back down again. Is what Ivy's doing now enough to? Ivy's older than Fork. I think it's from the 80s, 1980, so it's 43 years old. Fork is not that old. Fork is a younger fishery than Ivy. So is the body of work that Ivy has done in the last 3 years enough to make it the greatest of all time? Or has almost 40 years of Fork dishing them out look at all the top 50 out of the top 50. I forgot the exact number. I counted them yesterday. Of share lunkers are top 50 of all-time weights. Every one of them's, over half of them's from Fork. And now there are about 5 or 6 from Ivy, but that's recent years. Is what it's doing in the recent years enough to make it? And I think this is where the problem comes in. When you say GOAT or greatest of all time, it's a body of work. You don't consider, Mahomes ain't the greatest of all time. He's not. That's Brady. But once Mahomes has a body of work that scans the whole, then he begins to pass him. Maybe if he picks up that many Super Bowls, begins to pass him in being the greatest of all time. The best right now, Mahomes, that's arguable. Some people's going to say this guy or this guy. But as a whole, everybody pretty much recognizes Mahomes is the best in the NFL as quarterback right now. But he's not the greatest of all time. That belongs to Brady. I think the same thing goes for Ivy. Greatest of all time, Lake Fork. Best right now, Ivy. But Fork still continues. And it's, if not the most pressured lake, one of the most pressured lakes year in, year out. It's just constant pressure. And it just gets hammered and hammered and hammered and hammered, and it continuously puts out 7, 8, 9, 10-pound fish on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, yearly basis. It does that. Now, Ivy does it now. And there's a couple more lakes people were telling me about putting out these giant fish over in Texas, and I need to do some research on them. So I need to go try some of these because they're taking a little pressure off Ivy right now too. But that's where when I get and the guy was very like, it's definitely Ivy. Yes, Ivy's the best right now. But Fork's been doing it for almost 40 years. Ivy's been doing it for about 4 or 5. So obviously, if you look at a body of work, it's definitely Fork. But the best right now is definitely Ivy. But how do you look at it? When you look at something, when something gets called the GOAT, so many people jump on. It's kind of what have you done for me lately type deal. What have you done for me lately becomes whether or not something is the GOAT. And that's just, I look at a body of work. And just a body of work. Now, that's my deal. That's my little take for this week. So it wasn't nothing too bad. But I want to talk about some other things too. When the water temperature drops below 60 degrees, what is your go-to bait? When the water temperature drops below 60 or is rising up until 60, it is so hard for me. And I love to throw the new glide baits and caught a few on them. It's so hard for me to throw anything but an A-rig. I just love it. It just catches. I mean, I was night fishing at Fork the other night throwing A-rigs. So many people get, they use other baits, but the more and more I go fishing with it, the more I realize this bait is so versatile. You can throw it at night. But I'm going to have a video coming out here in probably the next week where I talk about, I'm really getting my stuff specialized in terms of, I'm just not throwing one A-rig anymore. I'm throwing a few different A-rigs. Some of them different based on weight, length, size, the swim bait heads, the swim baits. I'm really starting to get a little bit more technical with what I'm throwing, or the A-rig I'm throwing for the situation. Yeah, you don't throw a half-ounce spinnerbait or a 3/4-ounce spinnerbait all the time. You throw it in different situations. And so what I've learned to do is I'm starting to get a little technical with this and starting to catch more and more fish, because I think if you use different A-rigs, you can use it in more situations. And I'm going to tell you something. It's hard to beat 5 swim baits coming through an area. First of all, those swim baits look beautiful. It does like a little school with those little spinner baits, little spinnerbait blades, little tiny willow leaves or Colorados, whatever one you want to use. Coming up through there, it looks like a bunch of minnows and shad. I mean, it's jumping and hopping, and it just gets big bites. It just gets big fish, especially big fish. They love it because it's like, they think, I don't know what they think, but I think they think I can get every one of these in my mouth, I'm done for the day. I can eat once or twice and I'm done. So it's a great bait. But throwing a 6.5 inch around a dock, that's a giant. I mean, you're talking about something that's almost, 11 inches in diameter, 12 inches in diameter. It's not always feasible. So you got to choose different ones for each situation. So that being said, I've started to try different baits, try different heads, try different actual A-rigs and things like that to really hone it in. And I think I've got something dialed in. It's going to be a really cool video. But guys, just tell me what you think about the Foutz thing. Tell me what you think about the A-rig thing. Tell me about what you think about the Goat Lake. What is your Goat Lake? How do you define Goat Lake? Things like that. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be interesting to talk about these things. And if you got anything else you want me to talk about in the next week's video, let me know. Guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. We're growing like crazy. And you know this. Hey, and I still need a boat sponsor. I've had a couple people talk to me about it, but no boat sponsor yet. Come on, I need a boat sponsor. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm not begging for sponsors. Trust me, the only sponsor I worry about right there. GG and the people of GG that watch the GG guys. But guys, thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Without you, the channel is nothing. Without you, the Facebook page is nothing. I want to thank the great admins on the Facebook page who absolutely take care of it on a day-to-day basis. We get so many people trying to get in with spam. It was a great idea by some of the admins to go to a deal where we have to accept everybody and approve every post. Definitely don't get as many members, but it's because we approve of only good people, and that is 100% eliminated spam. Well, I don't think we've had a spam post. We may have one get through, but it wasn't every now. They're hard to find because they're getting a little sneakier trying to get in, but we pretty much got it down pat, down to a science on how to catch these guys and keep all the spam out. But guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Ring the bell.